Hello, everybody. With me today, we're doing a special episode here, is Jon Grilz from Creepy. It's always so hard for me to say your podcast name because it's just the one word. It's not like the Creepy Podcast. It's
to be
Creepy.
fair, more people call it Creepy Pod than anything because
really?
Creepy wasn't available on social media or as a website. So I just said, I'll just call it Creepy Pod because a Creepy Podcast wasn't taken either. Everyone calls it Creepy Pod. I'm like, no, it's just creepy.
I always knew it was
terrible
creepy.
SEO.
But John's here because he is doing a huge event this October. 31 scripted episodes throughout the month of October. One a day. One story a day. Have you ever done this before?
One episode a day.
One episode a day. What did I say?
You said one story.
Oh.
I'm only saying that because I'm exhausted right now and how much work goes in. Like, no, get it right. There's two.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. So we'll have two stories, one episode a day, all of October.
Yeah.
Now, when you joined Bloody Disgusting's podcast network, it was right around the time we joined, I think. It was at the same time.
I think it was just about like the same time. I think you guys were there, and I think I was like right after.
Yeah. And I had like started the podcast network and stuff. And at the time, though, were you doing all the reading yourself, right?
Yeah. I would say up until, I think there was one episode I didn't do because it was a female narrator. And okay. I asked a friend to do it. And I think there was another one where like I had someone's help. Like they did the Dead Bart creepypasta. He did a lot of like the Simpson voices and stuff. But yeah, I did them all for about the first year and a half.
Oh wow. So that's crazy. And now you have
now we have about, I think there's 10 narrators that we kind of cycle through.
Okay. That's what I was going to ask next.
Yeah. I still try and get the reads in, but we do 3 stories on Saturday, or normally 3 stories on Sundays, 2 on Wednesdays, but then we do 4 Patreon episodes during the week too.
Holy.
Yeah. So it turned into like, I need to hire people. I can't.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Good for you guys. That's
a lot of stories. Yeah. We've gone over like 3,000 episodes, I think, between our live feed and Patreon.
That's fucking wild. So John's joining us to promote that. And is there anything else you want to mention since I don't have all the details?
No. Yeah. I mean, it's our 31 Days of Horror event. You know, we've been doing it for pretty much the every October since we started doing Creepy. I actually, it was kind of fortuitous when Bloody Disgusting had reached out to me. My plan was to do the first 31 Days of Horror and be done. Like I was exhausted. Like I was doing a lot of it myself. I was doing another audio or podcast at the time, and I was burnt out. It was costing me a lot of money to do. There was like the advertising revenue landscape has changed so much.
Yeah.
That like you can right off the bat, you can at least be making like a couple of bucks, you know, on Anchor or wherever you go. But then it was just costing me a lot of money and headache. And I was like, cool, well, there's a bunch of stories left. I'd never heard of a podcast that actually did an episode every day. And I'm like, well, let's just do it in October, finish with a bang, be done. And then, you know, Bloody Disgusting was like, hey, you interested in doing more episodes? And I was like, yeah, Bloody Disgusting. Yes, I am. And then shortly thereafter, I actually lost my job. So I'm like, let me pour all my energy into this so I don't go insane. Like freaking out about having kids and not a job.
Yeah.
So, and then, you know, I did the 31 Days of Horror. And then as soon, like, I think it was 2 weeks after that, I lost my job. And then I ended up doing another 42 days in a row where I was just releasing an episode every single day just to keep my sanity, just so I could focus on something other than not having a job.
That's wild.
Yeah. And then I got really lucky. I moved those daily episodes that I was doing over to Patreon, and I was like, hey, you know, I'll still do Sunday episodes, but if anyone wants to join Patreon.
What is your project or product? Explain it as the word to 7-year-old child.
And like my head exploded. I was like, are you 100 people are willing to like sign up and like pay for this? That's amazing.
Yeah.
and it kind of went from there. And then I was like, all right, I'm going to do this. And for a long time, and then I got another job, and then I kept that up until about 3 years ago. And then I just started doing this full time.
Man, that's awesome. I mean, good for you for just sticking with it during that. I think that's a real testament. It was an interesting time for podcasts too, because if you leveraged social media and all of that at that time, you were able to kind of get a foothold now that a lot of people are. I mean, there's a billion now. And while we're still one of those billion, there is like we have this weird leverage because we got in like just at that cusp. It was like the very end of it being like, what's a podcast? And the very beginning of the boom. It was like right in that sweet spot that we hit it.
Well, yeah. And we got in when you could financially afford to do a podcast.
Oh yeah.
Like early on, if you look back at, if you've ever heard interviews with like, Nerdist, Chris Hardwick, or Kevin Smith or whatever, when they were doing podcasts in like 2007, they were paying for bandwidth,
which is
so
nuts.
The more people that downloaded their podcast, the more it cost. So they were saying like some of their episodes were costing them like $1,000, $1,500 to put up an episode. And fortunately, places like Libsyn came along and they're like, no, just pay per month and you're good.
Yeah.
And suddenly that created an opportunity to be like, oh, cool. And a lot of people were on SoundCloud and stuff like that. And yeah, like I still remember right before COVID hit, I think iTunes announced that there were 1 million podcasts, like the millionth podcast, most of them had 2 episodes at most.
Yeah.
And now there's over 5 million because COVID hit and then everybody got a podcast.
That's fucking nuts. Yeah. I mean, it's so hard to sift through all that and try and find your way up when every single actor and actress and sports personality now has a podcast that's the same thing over and over again.
And I feel so much sympathy for people trying to because there's good podcasts out there that just don't get listeners because, you have to slog through, like you said, like every celebrity, every comedian, every person who had 15 minutes of fame is suddenly getting big deals, big notoriety and stuff like that, even if they have nothing to say.
Yeah.
So yeah,
which they usually don't. Yeah. So.
And so it's tough. And I sympathize with people because we got lucky, right? Like we just started at the right time. It wasn't like there was a magic recipe that we followed. It was more like, put it out there, have a voice, like content or a voice or perspective that people want to tune in and listen to again. Consistently do it, and that was it. That's kind of all you had to do. Yeah.
It's funny because people ask me and we got to bring Lexi in here at some point, but people have asked me, like, I mean, since we started and got a big following, like, that question you get of like, well, how do you guys do it? How did you get the listens? I tried to start mine. I can't get listeners. And it was so weird because I still have the same answer that I've always used. And recently I was doing it again and I was like, oh, I don't think this is even the right answer anymore. Like, this is not the right answer anymore. Like, I don't know what the answer is. I don't know, do a TikTok dance or something. Maybe that'll.
Yeah. Well, advice has just changed. If you ask your parents or your grandparents, like, how did your business become successful or whatever? It's not the same answer.
No.
Right. It's like, yeah, because you were buying Big Macs for $1. Times were different. Like, it's not the same thing. And like the landscapes change. Like you said, if you're not on Threads and X and Blue Sky and TikTok, and if you don't have a video presence, like video presence is huge now. Like new podcasts coming out that are just audio, it's way harder.
We're back. We turned into TV, which is hilarious.
Absolutely. Yeah.
They were like, wow, look, radio's back with the invention of podcasts. And then they were like, by the way, it's TV again. So
yeah. Well, and advertisers, like that advertising push that they wanted to face, they wanted to show their brand, they wanted all that stuff. And so that, advertising changed that landscape too.
Yeah. All right, Lexi, are you ready to get on here? You have no camera on.
I'm always ready.
Look who it is. Lexi joining for an interview conversation. I don't know. It's kind of both. That we got deep into that fast. But I love talking about that with people that understand. podcasting and stuff.
It's the good old days conversation, right? Like if you weren't, you don't quite get it. It was just kind of a different time, even though it was only 7-8 years ago. It feels like it was decades ago, and you're the old miner at the bar talking about the way things used to be.
Just put it out there, people will listen. Like, no, that's not the way it works anymore.
You just gotta dig and you'll find gold. It's easy. No, it's not.
So John, thank you for coming on. And the reason Lexi's here is because of the Stephen King month, Stephen King September. Is that what it's called? Stephen King September. And she had John pick 5 to 10 movies, which I love that range. Literally double, 5 or double that, whatever you want. What?
Well, he came in saying that he had 12.
Yeah, to be fair, I've got 12 with 2 alternates. So just
now, John, are you a big reader? Did you read a lot of Stephen King?
I didn't. So I got into him a lot later.
Mm-hmm.
I early on and I was the same. I was the same way with horror movies. I'm not embarrassed to say, like, I very much used to be the person who would be really mad at the success of something else, right? So like Stephen King was Stephen King was always coming out with books and Stephen King movies. So I would just sit there with my arms crossed, like, oh, this is going to, I'm so sick of Stephen King. Now, little did I know that by 2025, literally everything that Stephen King had ever written would be adapted at some point. But so it took me a long time to get into him. I eventually got into him in college, and then I started reading the big ones, like The Shining and Carrie and The Dead Zone and some of the bigger ones and some of his Richard Bachman stuff. But his bibliography is so huge, like more power to the people. Like people who've read all the Dark Tower. I don't know how.
Crazy. That's crazy.
Book 1 was tough for me to get through. I mean, it was great, but that's a lot of content to really dig into.
Wait, have either of you seen The Long Walk yet?
No, but that was one of my alternates on my list because that's one of his books that I've read. And I really liked the book. And I remembered hearing, it was probably about 5 years ago when I first heard them say, yeah, they're going to produce The Long Walk. And I remember thinking, The Long Walk? Like, did they run out of other Stephen King books to do? Like, why would you do the one where a bunch of kids just march until they get executed? But I have heard nothing but glowing reviews about how emotional and
moved to tears.
Yeah, that's what people have been saying. So I'm really looking forward to seeing it. Like, I'm curious.
It's kind of like Stand By Me meets Shawshank. I don't know how else to explain it.
Okay.
Which is kind of impressive because I don't really remember the relationships feeling quite that heavy or tight in the book itself. It kind of felt like you were just kind of waiting for the next kid to get picked. Maybe I was just waiting for the next kid to get picked off. But yeah, I've heard nothing but glowing reviews across the board. So yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah, it's great. Wait, so you have your favorite novels and stories ranked or your favorite adaptations ranked?
I have adaptations ranked.
Okay.
Now, a lot of them were stories as well, so I can still cheat.
But you guys have to see The Long Walk before it leaves theaters. That baby was meant to be seen on the big screen.
Looking forward.
I was going this weekend, so.
It's there are some like graphic shots. Like they took it there. That R rating is justified.
I mean, I know you guys were kind of curious, or maybe curious is too kind of a word, about Running Man's at new reboot. But I'm looking forward to that because I liked the book. And the Arnold version is not like I don't know how they made that version out of the book. Like it was even more of a leap than Stanley Kubrick's Shining.
Yeah, for sure.
And this one with Glenn Powell looks more like, they're staying true to form. It's like, all right, you got to escape and anyone can get you. And we have the hunters coming after you on top of it. And people can like win prizes for ratting you out. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm hoping for the best.
Yeah, I love the Arnold one. And I understand that it's not even at that point a Stephen King
I know.
adaptation at that point.
I mean,
it's hard to say that.
I think I watched The Running Man like a couple of weeks ago, just randomly. I needed something to be on.
It's one of those movies you can just throw on, and as I mentioned on the show, it's after like the halfway point, it's just grunting and screaming, and you're just like, this is fine. This is
it's all just ridiculous. And if you ever like read the Wikipedia on it, it almost seems even more ridiculous when you dig into like some of the hunters, like Professor Sub-Zero. Like they don't change his name. Like that's like his real name isn't Sub-Zero, but the name they use on it is just his name.
Yeah,
like, is a professor.
Yeah,
and like the guy who plays like who shoots the lightning bolts. I can't remember his name. Blasto or whatever the hell it was.
Dynamo.
Yeah. He died. Like I think before the movie even came out. Like he had like a heart. Like it was just like this really weird like deep dive. And like, wow, this is a bizarre freaking movie. Fleetwood Mac is freaking in it, or Mick Fleetwood is in it.
Mick Fleetwood is in it, yeah.
And isn't Dweezil Zappa in it too? Like he's like
yes, I'm pretty sure.
Like why is Mick Fleetwood in this? Like, that's a bizarre pull.
As a like, it makes no sense. I mean, I feel like it was just Arnold. Like people wanted to be near Arnold or something, and
it was just such a product of its time. You have Richard Dawson. I mean, come on, people. You got the Family Feud guy like up there playing like the evil corporate game show host. Like, yeah, come on. Like it's just a product of its time. It's just ridiculous. And like they tried to make Predator into a game show. Like, let's just get like big greasy biceps.
Yeah,
and Arnold. And we're good.
So, all right. So what do you have? And you said you didn't rank them at the time. So you could do them in any order. And then you could kind of pick your top 5 out of it.
Oh, okay. So now to go into the weirdness of my list, does it have to be an actual Stephen King adaptation, or can it be an original Stephen King script?
Oh,
so we're talking about Sleepwalkers?
No, we're talking about Rose Red.
Oh.
Now, one of the worst CGI movies maybe of all time. But I love the backstory that they play into it. Like,
wait, Rose Red is the one with Marnie from Halloween Town, right? Kimberly J. Brown. She's in that.
And one of the McPoyles.
Oh shit. What is that guy's name? I know who you're talking about.
I can't remember his name. He's a great actor. I can't remember what his name. He was in Westworld, and yeah, he's in a bunch of stuff.
All right, so talk to me. Why Rose Red?
Okay, Rose Red. You know, it was, for me, I loved it because it's a play on the Winchester Mansion, and I think the Winchester Mansion is one of the more fascinating haunted house locations. Just this concept that this house was constantly being built. There's stairways that go nowhere. There's like a stairway in the ceiling. There's like the door that opens into a wall, things like that. And the backstory that kind of gets crafted within the story itself and then pulls you into this haunted house. I just loved the actual depth of the storytelling. Again, the CGI, pretty abysmal. The characters themselves, they're fine. They have their little backstories and stuff like that. And for a TV adaptation, it's not bad. Like I kind of debated between doing this and Storm of the Century, because I really like Storm of the Century too, for kind of the same reason. Like they're cheesy. They're, Storm of the Century is way more New England. It's what is it? Tim Daly kind of trying to do his Boston accent the whole time while the town is being enveloped by, a plague from biblical times or whatever. But it's just, I just enjoy the depth of the storytelling, because a lot of the times, and I'm sure you guys have talked about it plenty, Stephen King novels don't adapt well, because Stephen King's books are so much about character development and emotion and internal dialogue and internal narrative, that when you try and make a movie out of it, you have to exposit it, and you have to shoehorn in some of these speeches, and you have to focus on the bullies, like, because there's always a bully who is the worst version of a bully who has ever existed in the world, who is so ready to murder the kid that he's bullying at any given time. It's like, the story doesn't have to be just that.
That's actually, I love that. That's another Stephen Kingism that I feel like we like circled around it, but didn't put it in that context. That is 100% accurate.
Oh, this is so funny.
He says
because
racial slurs and literally attempts murder usually.
Oh yeah.
Right off the bat, just like is like he hung him off a bridge, and you're like, what the fuck?
Exactly.
This is so funny because John has this like thoughtful explanation of King, and we're just like, men's asses, real good. Like,
this is stupid.
I mean, I can devolve a little bit, I can start drinking. It's okay.
No, I think this is what people have been asking for since we started the show.
Well, and what I noticed too is like Stephen Kingisms in that way have also translated like the Duffer. It was the Duffer brothers who did Stranger Things, right?
Yeah,
Brothers Duffer. That there's clearly massive Stephen King fans, but the same thing, right? In season 1, there's a bully who's like, I want you to walk off the cliff, and he makes him. He actually has to walk off the cliff. It's only because 11 saves him that he doesn't die. And then in the last season, they spent like 2 episodes on 11 being brutally tormented by this girl. All because for once again, some reason, her language skills devolved between the seasons, where she was speaking just fine. Once she moved to California, it was kind of like season 2 again. And they had to introduce a bully who would just relentlessly terrorize her. That didn't lead to anything. No. It actually didn't culminate to a reason. It was just like, all right, she hit her in the face with a skate, and now you're going to go off to this government institution. What? You didn't need to make an 1.5 hour long episode to get to that. You could have just had him go. Like, it's fine. So weird.
I went into this another Stephen Kingism, and I don't even know if Sean and I have brought this up yet because of the bizarre choices we've had. Dead brothers.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
He loves having a dead brother in his story, but he never had a brother who died. I looked into this.
Yeah,
it's a recurring thing.
You do wonder why, specifically a brother. It's almost, I can't think of instances where it was like a sister. And I don't know if as a writer, he was like, I have no idea what it would be like to have a sister or whatever. So he doesn't even try. Although, I mean, he wrote Carrie, he's written from female standpoints.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's speaking to the male audience, if it's speaking to whatever layers. I don't know where he brings that from, but it's kind of like, all right, you got some check boxes you're ticking off here, aren't you?
Always.
It's so strange, the brother thing, but also because we talked about Dolores Claiborne last week and just how it's a strong female story. And as we were talking about it, I was like, oh, fucking Stephen King wrote this, that sometimes being a bitch is all a woman has to hold on to, or whatever the line is.
Oh yeah, that's true. We didn't even get into that aspect of it because we were raving about this, like the strong female.
I think a lot of that was Kathy Bates, though, right? You can put that script in front of a lot of people, and they're not going to come out with that same performance or that same gravitas or whatever you want to call it. And didn't she win? Did she win an Oscar for that?
No, for Misery.
It was just Misery. I thought maybe she was nominated for Dolores Claiborne. I thought she got nominated or something for it.
She
should have.
I think. I looked this up too. I'm gonna try and pull it up right now.
I don't know. I thought that I remember being kind of this odd buzz around this movie that for just kind of had a weird name. And I was like,
100%. I mentioned that in the episode. There was like a buzz because it was like Kathy Bates and Stephen King are at it again. And you're like, oh shit. No, they were only nominated for Best Supporting Actress at the Saturn Awards.
Oh, okay.
So
you watch the Saturn Awards that year. I don't know.
Oh shit! All right, so we got Rose Red. Is Storm of the Century on the list?
No, we'll say Rose Red.
It's booted. Okay.
We'll just say Rose Red.
For some reason, I have the Storm of the Century script, and I thought it was up here, but it's back there. But I do have it in.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I don't know why.
That's awesome. No, it still has one of the funniest lines to me from most Stephen King movies, because not exactly like they're known for their comedy at any point. But it's this one line when the island is getting just pelted and Lenoge shows up and people start dying. And Tim Daly, who's like a lapsed Catholic or something, I think, like his deputy asks him, like, why is this happening to us? And he tells a story about like his joke about Job, and all these bad things are happening to Job in the Bible, and like people are dying, whatever the source of Job is. I can't remember the details. But Job goes on the mountain, he goes before God, and he goes, God, I've done everything you've asked for. Why do bad things keep happening to me? And God responded, you know what, Job? There's just something about you that pisses me off. And it's just kind of like, okay, I can actually back that. I get that.
Yeah.
Like, that's an answer. Like, why do bad things happen? I don't know. I just don't like you. Like, oh, okay.
That's what God says to me. But
I was going to make that joke.
But yeah, I mean, if you guys are ever bored on a Saturday night, we can put on a live performance, Storm of the Century.
I'll read Storm of the Century. With my
Somebody just splashing water on me.
Awesome.
I just missed my face with a spray bottle.
You're gonna have to do I'm a Little Teacup a lot of times though. I was curious about that because I was thinking about Storm of the Century earlier. Do nursery rhymes appear a lot in Stephen King stuff? Because for some reason they feel like they stand out, but I don't think it happens nearly as much as I think they do. Maybe it's just horror in general likes doing it.
Oh, horror
does.
Horror is like, what's creepy? Oh, you
Up goes the weasel.
play a nursery rhyme really slowly.
Exactly.
That's so creepy. Creepy. All right, next movie.
All right, number 4. I gotta say The Night Flyer. You know,
that's what I'm talking about.
That's
what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'll apologize to your listeners that they've already listened to you guys talking about The Night Flyer. The reason I couldn't figure out why I liked The Night Flyer, because
come on,
for a lot of reasons.
Why wouldn't you?
You watch it and you're like, there's something I couldn't figure out visually. There was something that I couldn't quite click. I'm like, why do I like watching this? Why do I like watching Miguel Ferrer on here? Like, why do I like watching not Phoebe Cates, Timu Phoebe Cates on here? Like, I can't quite figure it out. And then it dawned on me. It's like watching an hour-and-a-half version of Tales from the Crypt. Like,
100%.
The cinematography, the script, the gore, the exploitation focus on dead babies and brutal murders and axes to the head and kind of weak supporting characters who are just there to drive the plot forward, no matter if it makes sense or not. It's just kind of Tales from the Crypt. It's just like a long comic book. And I love Tales from the Crypt so much. Like, I still watch it on DVD. I'm mad that it's not just streaming places.
Yeah, that's strange.
But like, that's kind of what it dawned on me. I'm like, oh, this is just kind of a classic cheesy movie, like the stuff that was foundational for like me loving horror in the first place. I'm like, oh, I get it. And I tried to find a link. I don't think there's any link. I don't know if the cinematographer might have worked on Tales from the Crypt or if it was the studio or what, but I'm like, everything about this feels, and Miguel Ferrer was in a Tales from the Crypt episode, so maybe like that was part of the link and stuff like that.
Was Tales from the Crypt HBO?
Yes, that's what I was about to say. They're both HBO movies.
Oh, so Night Flyer did originally show on HBO? Well, okay, so that tracks even more. Maybe it just, they were running parallel at the time and had a similar crew and stuff like that.
I bet you it was like the exact same.
They reused like that. Yeah.
Okay, so the vampire design, John.
Yeah.
What do we think? Do we love it?
I mean, personally,
oh gosh,
the best depiction of Dracula on screen ever has been Blade Trinity. So Sorry, I just did that to piss somebody off in the audience.
Well, it's sitting right here.
No, I mean, to me, he always looked like one of those snub-nosed bats or something. Like if you ever see like what bats look like up close, it always kind of looked like that. Like, yeah, it's a little bit, well, they're flying rats basically. Right. Like, so to me, it just kind of seemed like, they're just kind of going for a bat man rat hybrid, like Hale Rotma sort of thing from VHS. Like, I don't know what's going on, but yeah, like the design, the design's fine. To me,
what is happening?
Lexi, it's not. Well, here's my issue with it. Is it if you want to go big bat, by all means, go big bat. You can't go big bat in the fucking Dracula cloak with the fucking hood over.
You can, and they did.
So I might rank him higher, but to that point, Bram Stoker's Dracula went full bat, right? Like this was like a bat tease.
This was a bat.
We only got bat from the neck up, really. Like we didn't get full bat. Like just come on, it's HBO. Like just show it. Like I want to see him hanging upside down somewhere.
Sorry,
He's too busy flying planes.
I'm busy digging up Dracula from Blade Trinity right now, which I did not know. And he goes by Drake. I like that.
He goes by Drake.
Just slightly off. This is the craziest depiction of Dracula I've ever seen, though, and I'm watching this movie tonight.
If you guys have never talked about Blade Trinity, put that on the docket and start looking up the production problems with that movie. It's amazing. There's a final scene, spoilers, where Blade is supposed to be dead, but then he opens his eyes. Wesley Snipes hated making the movie so much. Not only did he not talk to Ryan Reynolds, but in that last scene when he's supposed to open his eyes, he refused to. They told him Wesley, you got to open your eyes. Wesley, open your eyes. Wesley, he refused to. They CGI'd his eyes opening. And it's not good CGI.
It's you've never seen that?
It's so
it's crazy.
Bizarre.
It's crazy.
You got one of the craziest as a vampire, Parker Posey as a vampire. You got Jessica Biel doing stuff.
Fuck.
That's
so funny.
As much as I love the original Blade, and I really like Blade 2, it was wow, Blade 3 was just to pay Wesley Snipes' tax evasion bills, wasn't it? That was rough.
Oh my god, dude! The eye scene is so fucking funny, and they're not at the right spacing.
Yeah,
it doesn't even, they're not even aligned. One's off a little bit.
I'm looking this up. I'm looking this up right now.
Look it up. It's so nuts to watch. It's so crazy. And we're gonna continue talking, and you're gonna interrupt us laughing, but that's fine. All right. So Night Flyer. What else? What are your other thoughts? Did you have other thoughts on that one?
No, I think I'm pretty good on the Night Flyer.
Night Flyer
covered the Night Flyer pretty well.
I came around to Night Flyer. It was a movie that I did not love. Back in the day, my parents had did you see the video?
I did. Yeah, I did.
It's so nuts. Can you imagine? Sorry, now we're off track again. Could you imagine going to this your special effects team and being hey guys, listen, I need one more thing. I know this wasn't on the list of things for this. CGI his eyes open? They'd be like, what the fuck are you saying? Why don't you just shoot him with his eyes open? He won't do it.
He refuses to. Hasn't opened his eyes in 2 days. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, no, I more than anything, I respect that and I love that.
And they say we're difficult to work with. They're ridiculous. Ridiculous. But yeah, no, I my family didn't have a ton of DVDs, so I always found myself just looking at the DVD shelf all the time, being this fucking sucks. And Night Flyer was there. My dad owned that on DVD for some reason.
Owned it on DVD. He's the one who bought the DVD.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess it. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Shout out to my dad, the weirdest Stephen King fan of all time.
That could be worth some money. Original VHSs of Halloween sell for thousands.
Oh, yeah.
The Night Flyer, there's a market, right?
I'm not even gonna get into it. I found an original VHS at my uncle's house who passed away of Blade Runner, and it's in perfect condition with the vacuum seal around
Dude,
it.
some of those are worth a ton because there's like 6 versions of that.
Yeah.
Like depending on which one, like the narration versus no narration versus extended and director's cut and all that other stuff, that could be worth some money.
It looks like I have the international, because I saw the same thing you're talking about. I Googled it and I was like, I don't have time for this right now because it was like, well, this one's the international, which means it has this. And then somebody else is like, no, actually the international isn't cut like that. And I was like, okay, this is going to be a night. This is going to be a night long thing. I got to set aside a date for this. But what do you have next?
So number 3, I feel a little bit conflicted saying this period, but is The Shining. Not because I think it should be higher, but because it's like calling it a Stephen King adaptation is like calling The Running Man a Stephen King adaptation.
Yeah.
You know, like it's loosely based on it. The concepts are kind of there, but they lose, once again, you lose so much in the character development that Stephen King presented. Wendy is just like, Stanley Kubrick destroyed Shelley Duvall so badly in that movie. Like I'm sure you guys know that last scene on the stairs where she's like freaking out, like swinging the bat and looks exhausted. That's her, because they had done that take like 30 some times, and Stanley Kubrick had isolated her during production and specifically told the cast and crew not to be nice to her, to make her even more exhausted and strung out and paranoid and everything else. And it's like, that's the opposite of Wendy from the book. Like Wendy from the book is actually a strong female lead.
Yeah, I had heard that. Yeah.
And like, they don't really and Jack in the book, I feel bad for Jack. Like, he's sympathetic to me because he's got such horrible abuse, and like the ghost of his father is basically haunting him on top of his alcoholism and everything else. And so like, I kind of get it though, because if you guys did you guys ever see the Steven Weber adaptation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And again, it's kind of like watching Rose Red, like the cheesy CGI, and like they have Tony like floating, and it's kind of like, oh God, you were trying to stay a little too true. Like you do have to trim here and there, but they try to stay so much more accurate to make Jack a little bit more sympathetic, a little bit more of just kind of a loser, really.
Yeah.
Like, you know, who just his friends keep getting him through this stuff. It's not because he's good at anything or he's supposed to be good at stuff. But that said, The Shining, I watch it every year in October, usually like probably a couple of times a year, just because Jack Nicholson's freaking terrifying. You know, like the way they set up the Overlook. If you ever saw that documentary, Room
237. 37?
It bothers me because I have that key fob as a keychain, and I can't think what it is right now.
It's 237. Yeah,
237. Yeah. That documentary where I really loved the documentary the first time, and then the more I watched it, the more it seemed like someone's PhD dissertation where they don't actually provide examples. Like, and Stanley Kubrick's face is in the clouds, but they don't even superimpose his face. They don't show you. And so I remember watching it and pausing it, like, what are they pointing at? They don't show us what they're talking about. It's so, and Stanley Kubrick would never turn this can this direction unless he was in, like, oh, okay. Like, you're giving him a little too much credit. But when they point out how bizarre the hotel is, like when you're following Danny, like on his trike, like going through the halls and stuff, it doesn't make sense. Like the layout doesn't make sense. Like, so like he's on one floor and then he's on another, but like he shouldn't be, because then you see a room that was from earlier that was on a different floor. And it's really brilliant because it kind of creates that confusion and claustrophobia without you noticing it. Like it's in the back of your brain. And then, you know, and obviously just the scares, like the old woman freaking, to this day, I'm like, I don't want it. Don't pull back the curtain. Don't pull back don't kiss her. Damn it. But it is it's a good horror movie, but calling it The Shining is also like, plus there's so many FUs to Stephen King in it. that it was just kind of like, all right.
So obviously King's has a notorious reputation for hating that adaptation of it. But do you guys know, like, if when it came out, the public reception, like the diehard King fans, if they hated it, or if that only came after King was like, I fucking hate that movie?
So I don't know if King's fans hated it, but I remember hearing the critical reception was bad.
Oh,
like,
really?
A lot like The Thing, that critics kind of lambasted it at first. Like, and I think a lot of it is because it was horror. Right? Like it was hard to get critics to give any positive reviews for horror. I mean, even to this day, like it still can be, depending on what's being made. But initially, yeah, like I don't think it was that big initially. And then I think it kind of had a resurgence. I could be misremembering that, but I thought I remember like the initial critical response was like, this is garbage.
Well, and I think
oh wait, sorry. I just want to bring this up. It was The Shining was released on 10 screens.
That sounds about right. Yeah, they did like a really limited release. I think wasn't it European? Like, didn't they release it in Europe first?
That's so weird. Wait. Seems like a horror podcast would want to do an episode on this. It was released in, let's see, May 23rd, 1980. It was US first.
Well, so when it first came out, I'm assuming King shit all over it because like the non-disparage didn't come until he wanted to do the mini series, right? And that was like contractually if you want to make this, then you can't say any more shit.
He was on late night shows during when Stanley Kubrick was on shows promoting the movie. Stephen King was also on shows being like, don't go see it. Which is psychotic.
No, I love it.
It's so nuts.
I mean, it is kind of brutal. I mean, I don't know if it's still this way, but up until, this was like the last time I had checked. I think it was back in 2018 or 2019. The Shining was still the #1 selling horror novel year by year, not cumulative.
Whoa.
Like in 2018, it sold the most still. Like it's crazy. Still, and it's fantastic. It's an amazing book. So I get it to a certain extent, but it feels like there had to have been more, right? There had to have been stuff where he saw an early screener and had critiques or something, and Kubrick was like, F you. Because I don't know, because it's you hand over your work, right? And you hope for the best, sure, but
well, you said that came out in 79, so is that the second adaptation after Carrie?
Carrie was his first, I think.
Yeah. So was there anything between the two, Sean? Do you know?
I'm not sure I can pull it
well,
up.
Carrie was 76. Dead Zone was after that. I don't know. When was Christine? Christine was 80s.
Christine was the 80s, yeah. Wait, so The Shining was 1980. So when did Carrie come out? 79.
Carrie was 76.
Salem's Lot would have come out before it.
Oh yeah, it would have.
Was Salem's Lot before The Shining?
Yeah, 79, I think, right?
Yeah, it was 79.
I thought it was the 80s for some reason.
But feature film 76 and then The Shining in 80, yeah.
That's surprising that there was such a big gap.
Yeah, that is bizarre. And and then it was Salem's Lot was 79.
And Dead Zone was probably a few years after that. Huh.
So 1980, and Stephen King got sober in 87. So probably.
Yeah, I think I remember hearing it that he doesn't remember writing Cujo.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. You totally know he had a call with Kubrick, and then the next day was like, "How dare you do this?" And Kubrick was like, "Hey, excuse me? Like, we had a conversation 2 days ago. You said it was fine." And he was like, "You're a fucking liar."
I had like half an 8-ball in me. You can't. Ridiculous. And then he went on to do Maximum Overdrive.
It's pretty bad. But I kind of love it, but that guy getting hit in the nuts with a soda can just fucking takes me out every time. So,
well, I just love a truck stop owner who's also an arms dealer. All right.
Listen, I bring that back to movies because it's like in Tremors when they're in the middle of the desert and then they're like, hey, we got to go to Rick's house. And then they go to Rick's house and he's like, by the way, I have every weapon known to man here. And you're like,
into the rotten goddamn rec room.
Perfect.
Reba McEntire going too fast.
Reba, baby. All right. What do you have for number 2?
Number 2 is Needful Things, 1993.
This is shaping up to be quite a wild little top 5.
My top 5s are usually pretty weird.
I can't even imagine what number 1 is.
Number 1 probably won't be that big of a surprise. Maybe
we'll see about that.
I love Needful Things. I read the book, and it all things considered, the movie does a pretty good job. It's tough because Needful Things with the main character Leland Gaunt, for those who haven't seen or read or heard of Needful Things, the concept is, I think it's in Castle Rock. The concept, at least in the movie, is Ed Harris plays Alan Pangborn. I can't believe I remember his name. I haven't seen the movie in a while. Who is the sheriff, and all of a sudden this proprietor of an antique shop, Leland Gaunt, moves in, and this place is called Needful Things, and people go in and they see certain things that trigger these memories or these wants or these desires, and instead of it costing anything, you basically owe him a favor, and those favors kind of drive the town insane. And the beauty of the book is you really get to see the web of connections and how brilliant it is to get a person who has nothing to do with the feud that's going on with the other person to get involved in breaking those windows. And it's like the feuds that already exist because it's small town life, that like in Salem's Lot. Like, again, I love Salem's Lot, the book, because anyone who's ever lived or spent any amount of time in a small town, you're like, oh, okay. He kind of gets it. It's basically just gossip. It's basic, like you're smiling at your neighbors, but you're kind of also judging their apple pie at the same time. And it was also the first time I ever saw someone put cheese on apple pie. I thought that was the craziest, or even heard of the concept. Like, why would you put cheese on apple pie? It's a thing. It's not bad. But the overall performances, like Ed Harris, Ed Harris is good in, most things that he's ever in the first place. But Leland Gaunt, oh God, who played Leland Gaunt?
Leland was Max von Sydow.
Max von Sydow. I mean, the voice, just the general height, the posture, like just kind of just a sinister looking dude, kind of the snaggle tooth grin on top of it. Just really creating just kind of that equal parts ominous and welcoming. Like you do kind of want to go into a shop and see what he's got. And it's kind of like, oh, I just got to give you my soul. And I can get like little horsies that like predict which race is going to win at Canterbury Down. Like, awesome. Cool. I'll do that. So yeah, I just love, I love when he really is able to craft the story within the town, which is, he is so good at. Like location is so central to what he does. It's just most of it is in Deary, right? Most of it's to the point where it's almost cliche for people, like, oh, it's going to be happening up in New England. Okay. Well,
so Sean and I had a conversation, I think it was the episode before last week's, about how there are certain King adaptations that are just King through and through, and Needful Things is one of them to me, and like Graveyard Shift is one of them for me. There's just like a tonal thing about it, and we were trying to nail down exactly what that is, but I think it is so much about just like the small town being a character.
It's a small town character. Again, there's got to be a bully, right? But it's an adult in certain cases too, where there's someone who's just trying to get about their day, and there's kind of a big boisterous guy who's got a bunch of kids, and the kids are all little assholes. He's a bully, and like he's the tough guy at work, so something bad's got to happen to him at some point, and yeah, and I think it is just kind of nailing or at least doing your best to approach the human interactions we have with the people we hate, right? Because people usually don't talk about those. You usually don't adapt to those. But the reality is how many people do you talk to in a day that might smile to your face, and the moment you're done talking to them, they roll their eyes and they're like, oh my God, like I'm so sick of dealing with this person, right? And he just kind of puts it on Front Street, though, because while all that happens in the head of his characters in the book, they say it in the movies.
Yeah. And the dark Needful Things is Alan Panghorn from The Dark Half, same sheriff.
Yeah.
In this book, it's the same guy in Needful Things, except now he's the main character here. Also, that was considered his last novel in Castle Rock. That's how he advertised it. The last Castle Rock story. Needful
I don't remember
Things.
does it say what his other ones in Castle Rock were?
Let me see. So I don't know if The Dark Half takes place there.
The Mist
Castle Rock first appeared in The Dead Zone.
Oh, that was The Dead Zone? Okay.
Yeah. Oh, wow. George Bannerman, the sheriff of Castle Rock, appears in The Dead Zone, Cujo, and The Body. These are just people. Alan Panghorn.
The Body was Stand By Me, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. These are just people's names. I like Cujo's listed. Okay. Literary works set in Castle Rock. The Dead Zone, Cujo, The Body, a couple short stories from Skeleton Crew, couple short stories, I guess.
Dreamcatcher must have been Fury.
The Dark Half, The Sundog, Needful Things, It Grows on You, which is the Creep Show short. That's in Castle Rock.
Well, technically, Hulu was Castle Rock. They literally did Castle Rock.
I've never been able to figure out what this was. We had Mick Garris on a while back, and I asked him this, and he didn't have an answer for me. I remember there's a story that King wrote. I don't know if it's a short story or a novel that he wrote that he has not let anyone adapt. And I almost feel like it was The Long Walk for some reason. Like for the longest time, he wouldn't let anyone touch it, but it might not be The Long Walk. But I can never figure out what the fuck I'm thinking of. But I've heard it on several different podcasts, guests talking about how they wanted to adapt it.
All right. Well, this leaves us with number 1.
All right. Out of curiosity, given the list I've already said, do you have any what would be your guess for my number 1?
Okay, so you do a similar thing that I do when I have to do a top 10, which is I have to. You and I almost think of it as a sort of a fantasy draft where it's you need these positions. I need the TV miniseries in my top, one of those, because that's just what he makes, right? For me, it's okay, I have to include something like that. I do want to include a new release. I have these categories where I'm it might not be the top 5 movie adaptation he has, but I'm but I got to include it because it was the best of that, the best of this thing, the best miniseries. So I feel you've kind of moved things around, and you were okay, you've bounced around to different reasons and why you like them. I would say, I feel this is going to be wrong though, but I'm going to say it. I'm going to go Creep Show.
No, it's actually not even on my list of all. That would be number 14 for me.
That was such a quick number to throw out.
Because
I think I have 13 on here.
See, I don't think that Sean's right and that you were trying to hit certain points. I think you have a very weird top 5, and I think your number 1 is going to be the same. And all of these are kind of wild card ones. The Shining's the only one that probably ends up on a lot of lists. The rest of them, I don't know.
Yeah, I fully admit Needful Things probably doesn't pop up on a lot of people's lists too.
If you're going weird and it's not the Langoliers, then I'll be shocked.
It's not the Langoliers.
Well, wait. Okay, hold on.
Langoliers. It's not the Tommy Knockers. It's not the Stand.
So is it a more popular one?
Yep, it's more popular, and it was done by a major studio.
What the?
It's done by a major studio with at least at some point was probably considered an A-list actor.
The Dark Tower.
No.
The Dead Zone?
It was the studio. I don't think technically exists because the studio head was a horrible human being who deserved to die in prison.
Oh yeah, we've hit on him a few times because of these movies. So.
But what fucking king did he adapt?
1408.
This is unhinged. This is unhinged.
1408 is fantastic. It's so good.
Okay.
It is such a good movie. I love the short story. I love the fact that the short story existed because he literally just needed to write a haunted hotel. Or he decided he wanted to write a haunted hotel story purely for his book on writing. Like, he wrote it as like a writing exercise for his book on writing.
Stephen King just fucking loves writing the same stories. A haunted hotel story.
Yep. And then he put it in Everything Eventual, which is a fantastic anthology series too. But the adaptation, I think, is better than the story because the story is pretty short. It's 16 pages or something like that. And it's mostly kind of like in hindsight trying to interpret the recordings of Mike Enslow, who's John Cusack plays, which I wasn't even sure if I could call him A-list. I think he was probably A-list at some point. Like he was,
yeah, for sure. For sure.
Moments.
Oh wait, he was in Stand By Me, right? No. Yeah.
No.
Wait.
No, that was Jerry O'Connell. River
no,
Phoenix.
As a teenage bully. I thought Cusack was in another one of King's adaptations for some reason.
He might have.
Or he was the older brother, wasn't he?
Was
in
he?
Stand By Me?
I haven't seen Stand By Me in a long time.
Oh yeah, he was in Stand By Me. Yep.
Oh.
He's got 3 Stephen King movies under his belt.
What's his other one?
Cell from 2016, starring him and Samuel L. Jackson.
Cell was a Stephen King book?
Yes, it was. I remember when I pulled it, I put together this extensive list of every adaptation, and Cell was Cell was one of them.
No.
Okay, so you could have given me 50 guesses, and I don't think I'd have guessed 1408 as your number one choice. And here's the thing. I've only seen it one time a few years ago, and I actually did really enjoy it. But the notion of it being someone's favorite King adaptation is taking a while to digest.
That's totally understandable. I love the simplicity of the story. I think John Cusack, the way they portray it, and part of it is probably because I'm a horror story creepypasta fanatic, right? Like No End House, like the concept of the house that you never actually get out of. Same kind of concept that translates into this movie. Like does he ever really escape? And depending on the ending that you see, I think there's 3 or 4 endings of this movie too. Like either he does or he doesn't escape. But just kind of there's this great narration that kind of goes over it where he's even talking about how hotel rooms are supposed to have this familiarity. It's like, he doesn't put it this way, but it's like why fast food is popular, that I can have a burger in Minneapolis and I can have a burger in New York City at 2 different McDonald's, but they're the exact same thing, right? It's comfort, it's familiarity. You're supposed to feel safe, but at the same time, it's very generic and also unsettling. You're sleeping in a place where other people have slept, on beds that people have slept in and bled in and died in. And then adding to that, just the simple scares, the handyman who refuses to go in the room, just kind of peeks in and like goes around. Samuel L. Jackson really selling, like, just don't go in. Like, he can write whatever you want, just don't go in. And John Cusack being John Cusack and just being a contrarian and just pushing buttons on top of it. And like, they're not the most complex scares. It's not the deepest story by any way, shape, or form, even though they do add like some family and child undertones to it because Stephen King. It's got a rewatchable level for me. That's really important for me to like really love a movie. There are amazing movies that I will never ever watch again. Right? Like, I will never watch $1 Million Baby again. I got it. Like, I will never watch Leaving Las Vegas again. I got it. Like, I don't need to put myself through that stuff again. I'll watch Hell House LLC 1,000 times.
Hello.
It's comfortable. It's watchable. It's
Yeah.
I don't know what else to turn on. It's that. It's Grave Encounters. It's it's something that's just a simple, good story. It doesn't like. I think I adored Sinners. I'm not going to watch it all the time. That's not going to be my comfort watch. I'm not going to turn it on when I'm cooking or something. But when I watch it, I'll love it. But something like 1408, it kind of scratches that itch and it feels comfortable. And I can, it's a lot like how I like watching sports. I don't sit down and watch an entire game. I drift in and out. I'm not paying attention. I'm go do a chore or help my kid with something, whatever. And 1408 is kind of that for me. Like I can just kind of slip into it. I can enjoy it. I don't feel like I had to miss anything, but it doesn't detract from the story. Like some movies where it's like, oh my God, this is just trash. I don't need to see any of this. But this is more like, no, it's just a fun haunted house movie. And it's simple. And a lot of times in era, as much as I think we're in the golden age of horror, and there's so much fantastic stuff and there's so much trash at the same time, and you get to play with both. I also just sometimes want simple. Like, I don't need it elevated. I don't need it trashy. I don't need a blood splattery. I don't need a whatever. I don't need a Serbian film. I don't need Irreversible. I don't need Human Centipede or whatever else. It's just a haunted house story. And I appreciate that.
Sean, have you seen 1408?
I did when it came out. I have no recollection of it.
Yeah. And I'm sure a lot of people don't. It was just one of those things. There's something about it. I mix it up.
I mix it up with that the Jim Carrey one. Wasn't he in like a weird
the number 23?
Yes. I always mix it up with that. I can't keep those two straight.
Because I get numbers.
That's honestly probably all it is.
I don't think John Cusack plays the saxophone shirtless in 1408, but I'll double check. I'll watch it tonight.
Check the deleted scenes.
It is crazy though that Cell had John Cusack and Samuel L. Jackson also. Like that's kind of insane.
Oh, finally back together again after 1408. That's what people were clamoring for, right?
Yeah, and it was 7-8 years later. I mean, 1408 was a hit, $133 million box office.
It did really well.
Damn.
Yeah. Cell had $1 million, so
that's okay.
Wait, so do you have a hot take like least favorite King adaptation that other people love that's like a more popular one?
A least favorite. Honestly, I'm not the biggest Pet Sematary guy. I know, it's weird. I like Fred Gwynn. But part of it I think is being a dad, that truck scene, I don't necessarily see it, but a lot of it is just, it's also kind of silly to me. Like, it doesn't really make sense. Like Fred Gwynn says, like, when they're like, oh, what's that path? He's like, oh, it's a good walk. It's a good story. It's neither. It wasn't a good walk. You took him to a bunch of brambles and and antlers and stuff. It was a very short walk, but you guys really packed for it. And it's not a good story. It's a terrible place. Why would you bring children to that, you monster? And then when a cat dies, instead of saying your cat died, this is a good opportunity for a doctor to teach his children and his family about life and the circle of life. No, we better bury this thing at the cemetery where animals come back to life. What?
That's actually nuts.
Doctor. Like, what are you doing? It doesn't make any sense. And then
super funny.
Slashing is like Achilles tendon and stuff. And I'm like, oh, come on. I don't. So it and there's scares with the aunt or whatever her name was.
Zelda, yeah.
Zelda.
I am such a strong champion for Pet Sematary, and people obviously always talk about the Zelda subplot. I forget
she's in it.
I forget her presence is more prevalent in the novel,
Way more.
book or in the movie, it just feels like she's like in it. It's just like a random cutaway to Zelda without any explanation.
No, it's 100%. The way they frame it is like a couple scenes of them being like, remember when you had to take care of it was her sister, right? Or his sister. Either way, it was like, remember when you had to take care of your sister? And then you'd get like some flashes and you're like, what the hell? And then it just appears and you're like, Jesus Christ. That's kind of it. And then they're like, hey, let's go bury that kid.
Well, there's a dead sister for you.
Well, there you go.
But, oh yeah, I get, okay, I'll give it to her. Yeah. All right, fine.
So, and again, like, and it's just me. Like, I know people love Pet Sematary, but it's one of those things where if you put, Pet Sematary on or Carrie, I'm going to watch Carrie. If you put the Dead Zone on or the Night Flyer, I'm going to watch the Night Flyer.
I don't even know what I would do in that situation.
No, I like the Dead Zone. I really do, but I got to be in the right mood to watch Christopher Walken be Christopher Walken-y to that level. Right. So yeah, and God, it's Stephen King, right? Like, is there ever been a horror writer that could be more popular and divisive amongst fans at the exact same time, who made so much content that there are fans of him who hate a lot of his stuff and love it at the exact same time.
Are you a fan of The Black Phone? Like, what do you think of Joe Hill as like his predecessor?
I like Joe Hill. I liked The Black Phone. I liked
Nosferatu.
No, I didn't read Nosferatu. It was that one
book was awesome.
It was about the band singer, the heart-shaped box.
That sounds right.
Yeah, I think that is
Heart-shaped box. I liked Heart-shaped box. I like Joe King. I think he's good. I think he feels. I mean, his writing to me, again, I haven't read a ton of his stuff. It is similar to Stephen King in the way he presents the backstory and the characterization of the people. Like, he does really dive into those details. But, fortunately, there isn't so much weird kid stuff in the stuff that I've read. Like, there's no weird it scene, it's like, all right. And product of his time, maybe. I don't know. That maybe he's like, maybe we shouldn't have kids having sex in this book.
That's so interesting because The Black Phone, it's about children being kept in a basement.
Well, yeah, but they're not having an orgy to defend themselves against the interdimensional being.
Not that we know of.
Yeah.
Deleted scene.
They're not hanging them off of bridges and trying to club their heads in for no apparent reason.
Like, real quick in the book, like right off the bat, like, we really got to get real homophobic, bash him and hang him off a bridge.
I remember, so I actually still haven't ever finished it. I think I got about halfway through, but I remember starting it. And that first chapter is fucking psychotic. And I was like, what am I reading? I was like, why am I doing this for fun? This is nuts. I did not know this was the content I was getting into.
I got the audio book. Because I was the same way. Like, my brother was a massive Stephen King fan, so he tore through like The Stand and It. I'm like,
oh my god,
I can't. So I got the audiobook. It was the same thing. I'm listening to it and I was like, what?
You got to turn it down when the windows are rolled down. You're like,
Can you imagine sending that book to a publisher today? Like, if it had never been written and you send that to a publisher, you'd be on a watch list.
At a Dunkin' Donuts and your fucking radio's going off with that shit. They carved a slur into his stomach. What the fuck are we talking about? That's what happens in it. That's what the bully does, is carves
again
a homophobic slur into his stomach.
It's not just I'm homophobic and I'm going to say some crappy things from a distance. No. I'm going to murder you. I am going to I'm going to murder you, and I'm going to mutilate you too. Like, what? Like, you gave backstory to everything else. Can you at least tell me why? Why did it go from 0 to 60 so fast?
It's
and even in Stand By Me, what's his fucking name? Lost Boys vampire Kiefer Sutherland pulls a gun on them and like a razor blade. It's just like, what was going on in the 50s?
In New England, especially. I thought they were all supposed to be kind of chill up there.
Dude, not even New England, fucking Maine. Like, that's like the most chill area of all time. Like,
and not once did I see any of them eat a crab cake. It's freaking ridiculous.
That's a good point. But yeah, Joe Hill, I read Nosferatu. I fucking loved that book, but it is I don't want to say like Stephen King light, because I think he's much better than that, but he is much softer around certain dynamics like children.
Well, I heard the TV adaptation was really good too. Or no, that was Mr. Mercedes.
There is a Nosferatu TV adaptation. Also, I haven't watched it yet, but yeah, I think it was a limited run series, as we call them now, not mini series. Ain't nothing mini about it. All right. So, which is crazy. I made that as a joke, but that's for sure the way those people think in streaming land. They're for sure like, you can't call it mini. People don't want mini.
Especially if it's Stranger Things. It's got to be 2 hours an episode.
Oh, dude, the new season, they are 2 hour long episodes. It's fucking crazy.
And all the kids are de-aged because they're like 30 now.
Oh, are they de-aging them?
Yeah, I heard they were using the de-aging technology, and I'm like,
oh, that's going to be fun.
I don't think they've quite mastered that well enough for you to be doing that. Just make them older.
I fucking hope that they Wesley Snipes someone eyes open in that. Just like, Eleven's eyes.
Yeah. Millie Bobby Brown has been like having a hard time with her adopted kid or whatever, so she's asleep on set. Let's just CGI her eyes.
Oh shit. So I had a bunch of questions, but I want to hear the rest of your list. Kind of what else do you have on your list?
So the rest of them were pretty basic, right? Like I had the Dead Zone. Another one where I did like I know it's a ridiculous thing to say, liking the book more than the movie, but I like the book, I think, because of Stephen King's book on writing. He has this story about the Dead Zone, and early on in the book, he basically he's talking about how to make a villain and how to make a character unlikable. And in the book, the character who's played by Martin Sheen in the movie, the senator who's running for president, he's like a Bible salesman going door to door selling or whatever. And in the scene where he's introduced, he stomps a dog to death, like a puppy to death. And Stephen King is like, to this day, I get hate mail from people that I killed an imaginary dog that's never existed, and the person that killed him has never existed, and none of this ever happened. He said, but I get hate mail for that more than anything else because I killed the dog at the beginning of the Dead Zone. And so I'm like, all right, I got to read the Dead Zone.
I fucking love the Dead Zone so much. Like, I never shut up about it. It's eerie to watch now, but so like The Long Walk, it's weird. All of these books he wrote in the 80s, like when you guys end up saying The Long Walk, especially because it came out last week, it's just so insanely topical to 2025. And I don't think it was topical when it was written, but watching that, especially last week, like on Thursday, it was like, holy shit, like he wrote this 40 years ago. And there's no way it was as relevant.
Walking and the football and the TV around it and the spectacle and everything else. I'm like, I could see this happening in 2020.
That's what I'm saying. It's crazy. And just all of the, I mean, I don't want to spoil anything about it because you guys are going to it's so fucking good. I can't implore you enough to see it as soon as possible. But it is strange the way that King was able to tap into these things that weren't happening so extremely at the time, and now it's just like, Jesus Christ, this man's a psychic.
I mean, it's sad. You wait long enough, and unfortunately, well, you read any sci-fi from like the 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
Like, oh, no, they figured it out, huh? They saw
It's those prolific writers that somehow managed to do that too, which is crazy. Because like Matt Groening with The Simpsons, where it's like, people are like, "Hey, remember this episode from 1992?" And it's literally exactly what happened yesterday. And you're like, "Jesus fucking Christ!" Like,
Well, supposedly there's some 9/11 conspiracy around that too. Like one of like a New York episode supposedly has all these 9/11 clues in it, but it was like years before 9/11. It was bizarre.
Weird. Yeah. What else you got on your list?
I have The Mist. I liked The Mist.
Okay.
I liked The Mist for a different reason. I mean, yeah, the ending, of course, because it's the most brutal ending of all time, but didn't exist in the story, right? Like Stephen King watched it and he was like, "Oh my god, like, holy crap, that was brutal." But I like like because that is, again, it's kind of predicting the microcosm of collapse, right? Like when you take reason and authority out of a situation, what are people going to turn into? At first, yeah, you might be reasonable. You might have someone take control and say, "Hey, this is what we need to do." But you're going to have someone say, "That's not right. That's not what's happening. That's bullshit." And then the less reason and control exists, the more you're going to try and find answers. You're going to find reason. And then religion all of a sudden enters the picture. And all of a sudden, like, there's a prophet character. It's like, the world is against us and everything else. But I also really liked the creature effects. I loved when you went out into the fog and you got like this giant brontosaurus sized thing just kind of loping through the fog. Like, that was awesome, and like, actually, like, oh, we can't go out into the mist and we're trapped in here with crazy religious lady, and we were trying to hoard resources and survive and get out of here. Like, it was like, I thought it was really good. I thought Thomas Jane did a real good job.
Yeah, Stephen King does actually love that more than I thought. And you just mentioning it, I was like, oh yeah, like you have The Stand, which is same concept. And even Salem's Lot, the last quarter of that book and movie is the town is fucking gone. The town is non-existent anymore. And that's fucking crazy. Like they wipe a town out, and you're dealing with the leftovers, like trying to figure out what they do to get out of this. And he loves trapping you in these small towns.
Yeah. And then at Carrie, 1976, Sissy Spacek, outstanding. John Travolta's silliest role, arguably outside, well, maybe not silliest, but it was up there. Like just the way that he's taught, just everything about him, because he's kind of Saturday Night Fever John Travolta, but also I'm the college guy who really wants to have sex with a high school girl, so I'm gonna do whatever she tells me, and she can call me stupid, and I'll just threaten to beat her while we drink beers in a car and steal pig blood. Like, what? All right, I love that journey for you, bud. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I think he was still doing his Welcome Back, Kotter thing. Even
it was very much. It seemed that way, didn't it?
Yeah, because that was 75, Welcome Back, Kotter. So that was 4 years later. And I think Welcome Back, Kotter might have still been on the air even at that point, like actively. But
how do you feel? How do you feel about the remake? Because not the TV iteration of it, like the 2012, I want to say.
Oh, of Carrie?
Yeah.
It was fine. I don't know, like there's some remakes where I'm kind of like, I get a remake if you're kind of trying to redo it. Like, it didn't feel like a big enough departure to me, I guess. Like, it didn't feel like there was a big enough reason. Kind of like when Gus Van Sant redid Psycho.
That was awesome. Shot for shot.
And really the only difference was we saw Anne Heche's butthole at one point. Like the one departure. Well, and Vince Vaughn like masturbating like through the keyhole. But it's like everything else, we're going to have it like real close. It's like, those were interesting departures you took there, Gus. You just did Good Will Hunting and this was your choice? All right. Hey, do you, bud? Yeah, I guess, sometimes reboots are fine. Reimaginings, whatever. Because the way I look at stuff like that is they're usually not my favorite version. Like the reboots, I tend to be probably in the majority where I'm like, I like the thing that I saw first, right? Like it's nostalgia. It's in the back of my head and my heart and stuff like that. But I don't mind it from the point of view that it's an opportunity to bring other people into the conversation, like a new generation of kids watching Carrie. And maybe that is their favorite. Maybe if they watched the 1976, they would just laugh their asses off at how ridiculous it seemed. And again, like the biggest bullies in the world.
Oh yeah.
And girls surround her in a shower and throw tampons at her when she had her period, and she's just scared. But every girl in there thinks it's the funniest thing in the world. Like, I know girls can be mean. I get that. But whoa, that was brutal.
That was nuts, yeah. That one's crazy.
So yeah, like I appreciate reboots for the fact that they can draw more audience to horror, and they can give people greater opportunity to be like, oh, I'm kind of interested in the genre. Maybe this isn't just slashers. Maybe this isn't just trash. Maybe this isn't whatever. And maybe they find the original and they like the original even more. So like the reboot wasn't really for me, just like the Firestarter reboot was like, okay. I mean, I was never a huge Firestarter original one with Drew Barrymore fan either. But it's like, all right. And at the same time, I'm also like, do we need to reboot Stephen King stuff?
It's so funny that while you were saying that, though, I was thinking about how the 2017 remake of It almost like started. It's not as though Stephen King is ever going to fade from pop culture, but because of how big that was and the age of the kids in it, it's like it restarted his entire fucking presence again to like the new generation.
Well, it probably did when you start incorporating kids, like popular kids, right? Like Finn Wolfhard. Like if you bring in like James McAvoy and Bill Hader and really like a terrifying Pennywise the Clown, right? Like, yeah, it's an opportunity for, re-jumpstarting his career. And now you have to do like the Tall Grass and like everything else that like he's made. Not for better or worse, but yeah, like it's just like cool. Like, all right, now you got It. Now, I didn't personally really like it, but I'm also just not a CGI guy, really. Like, so it's like the old lady was terrifying as is, but then she got big, and I was like, oh, this is just kind of funny. Or like the Paul Bunyan. I'm like, no, I've been to Paul Bunyan up in Bemidji. I've met him. He's like said my name. It's like this whole funny thing that we tourists in Minnesota do. So that's not scary to me. That's just a big lumberjack CGI. But, you know, new audience, right? New time to tell the tale. And let's face it, the original miniseries, which I honestly forgot that actually existed until right now, Harry Anderson, it's not like that's the scariest or best thing that's ever been made either. Like there's plenty of ridiculousness going on there.
Yeah.
So,
it also was that time period too, was they hit it. That was like the perfect movie, but you're right. It did kind of jump start it again, because everything right before that was rough. It was getting rough. I think Dreamcatchers like was the downward trend where people were like, yeah, I think we're good here. I think we're done here. But it capitalized too. And I mean, Finn was in it, but that whole Stranger Things where people were like, there in Hollywood, there was a big thing where it was like, adults don't want to see children in movies or TV. They don't want to see kids. They want to watch adults do adult things. And then Stranger Things kind of flipped it on its head where it was like, oh no, everyone loves this. This is super cool. And like it hit that like dead on with, because it's a flashback, so it's a different time period and you have kids. And I feel like that was like right at the right time. And then it did jumpstart everything. And then once again, it was like the 90s again, where everyone was like you said, Into the Tall Grass. Can we do that one? Let's put that one out.
And love it or hate it, it got big budget money and it made money.
Right.
And at the end of the day, horror needs to make money. Otherwise, studios don't make it, right?
Yeah.
Like Universal or Warner Brothers or whatever recently came out and they're like, no, we're going to do original IPs now because of like how much money Sinners and stuff has made for us. So now now it's kind of cycling back away from reboots and away from sequels. And now we're getting original IP. So it's like, yeah, sometimes the vehicle that got us there, like it might not be our favorite mode of transportation, but it got us there, right? It might be a jalopy that we hate and we hated every moment of the bumpy ride, but then it got us to like Weapons and The Substance and Sinners and Barbarian and Hereditary. And Terrifier, right? Like you get you get everything and so many more options to open it up to horror. So now the internet can just be filled with people that are like, I don't think that's really horror, and they can have those conversations all day long and just spend their time talking about horror and give us more attention. That's cool.
Yeah, and it was definitely Warner Brothers. I mentioned this on an episode a few episodes ago, but because Warner Brothers had Sinners, Final Destination, Bloodlines, Weapons, and The Conjuring: Last Rites.
Oh God, The Conjuring.
And now Final Destination, I don't know if you can call that original IP since it's a sequel or whatever, but like at the same time, it's still like we hadn't seen a Final Destination in ages. So
it coming out got my daughter interested in it, and she's really young, but like sometimes like these sequels aren't bad, right? Like she loves Jenna Ortega from Wednesday, so she got into Scream. So now she's going through the Scream series because now she has to get up to Jenna Ortega, and I'm like, cool, all right, like that's fine. Like, and I love the Scream series anyway. Like I'm not mad that they keep making Screams, but it's like, yeah, like people complain about reboots and they complain about sequels, and they complain that there isn't original stuff out there, but then they don't go see original stuff.
I mean, that's the problem, right?
Yeah. But now I think people are starting to open their eyes a little bit. Like, oh, okay. So this is more like Sinners, right? Like the online argument that it's not horror. It's like, all right, I don't know how many bullet points I need to give you to make this horror, but I get that you're confused because it's a period piece, right? And it's beautifully written and it's beautifully shot, and it's also a musical, right? And it's a history lesson on the Jim Crow South, and it's a masterclass in showing and not telling, and the story arcs and the characterizations and Michael B. Jordan's performances and everyone's performances. Like now it's creating dialogue. So cool. Say that it's not horror. I don't care. Talk about it though. Go see it. And then we get more, and then we get more and more and more, and we get more things that we love.
Yeah, it's been great. I mean, Lexi and I have been seeing all of them in theaters, all the new releases, and they've been so.
I haven't seen a lot, but I got to see Weapons, and I was so happy.
That was my reaction too. I was just like, this is just
a good.
This
was
rocks.
Just fun.
Yeah.
My wife's gonna be Aunt Gladys. I'm still trying to convince her to play Benedict Wong's character, like just with the eyes and stuff. Yeah. But yeah, there's great stuff out there, and there's great opportunity for horror, and it's a great time to love horror, because it used to be that if someone's like, "Oh my God, you like horror? That's trash," it was kind of hard to give an example that wasn't bad, right? Like the 90s wasn't an easy time to like horror, and really the early 2000s even. But now it's like, cool, tell me a genre you like. I'll tell you a horror movie that goes with it you can go check out. Right. There's so much gateway stuff out there now. It's great.
Yeah. My son saw it was like one of the fancy releases with the new artwork on it for Jason Goes to Hell. And he was like, what? And I was like, hey, don't fucking worry about it. Like, we don't need to watch that.
We just watched Friday the 13th Part 3. I haven't seen it for a long time. All right. Jason's mask appears in it.
I love 3. I love 3.
Well, you kind of forget that it was shot for 3D.
Yeah.
So
wait, yeah. 3's the 3D one. Yeah.
So it's like, what's that? It's an eyeball.
You forget until that lady puts the broom into the camera, and you're like, what the fuck am I watching right now?
the spear gun shot, the street toughs.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I love the 80s depictions of what like scary gang members were, like Crocodile Dundee level gang members.
Hey, remember in what is it? Halloween Ends? Is that the third one? With David Gordon Green.
No, the Halloween.
What's the last one?
Of the reboots. Yeah.
It's Halloween Ends, right?
Yes.
Halloween. Okay. The gang in that one is also fucking brutal. It was like literally a car full of greasers got out, and you're like, what the fuck The fuck am I? Haddonfield, these guys, these greasers popped out. We're like, hey, Buster, you better give me your lunch money. And you're like, hey, I'm fucking turning this off. What the fuck am I doing?
I mean, the moment that the band kids turned out to be the bullies, I was like,
oh wait, that's what it was. Yeah. But they were acting like greasers when they pulled up.
It was an interesting choice. That's another one where I'm like, I need backstory here. I don't know about this one. I don't know that the kid playing the clarinet is going to be like going to be the antagonist in this one.
Wait, this is huh?
What? I was going to say they could have went Stephen King and just had the kids, you were like, band kids, and then they were like, hey, by the way, I'm about to gut you right here on this side. And you're like, oh my God.
Yeah, we're going to throw them off a bridge. Like, what?
Wait, okay, so this is unrelated to kind of Stephen King and all of that, except for Halloween. If they ever pick it up again, for both of you, would you rather they just start fresh with Michael Myers' new movie, whatever, connect it like its own thing, or would you rather it picks up like after 4 and 5 or like after H2O? Like, which timeline are we liking?
Well, I think they need to reboot H2, or I think they need to reboot Resurrection. Personally, Busta Rhymes, never got a fair shot. I'm just saying, like, dude watched some kung fu movies, so he went toe to toe with Michael Myers, who for some reason learned MMA in the reboots and took out a bunch of firefighters real easy. I know some firefighters. They're not the easiest guys in the world if they get out of control. I don't care if you're the Shadow.
Yeah, they're also not going to wait for you to walk out of a blazing house and then just slowly walk towards them. They're going to fucking swing on you immediately.
And just one by one line up for it.
Like, hey, this guy just walked out of this burning building. We should probably kill this guy, right? Like,
at least shoot him with the hose. At least blast him. The guy's probably on fire. Let's hose him down. Something.
Fucking nuts.
But would you rather start somewhere new with Halloween, or would you rather it pick up after like the Cult of Thorn or a continuation of one of the already established timelines in this franchise?
I kind of think at this point, because Jamie Lee Curtis can't come back. I love that she came back for the first one. I got a little bit. I was a little tired of hearing that Evil dies tonight in the second one. And the third one just, I don't know. I'm sure people love the reboots. I liked the idea of the first one more, except that the depiction of podcasters, I like to think that I'm among safe people right now, and I can say, those weren't real podcasters. You don't hold a task cam up from 30 feet away in the wind and think you're going to pick up any sound, first of all. And so you go to her house and you don't even haggle the price. You just go with the most amount of money to get in the door. Once again, with your cheapest version of a task cam on, like, again, this is nitpicky stuff. I've been podcasting too long. Just maybe ask a podcaster what they would have done. I don't know.
The podcasting thing is so funny. I love how it's being integrated into like every movie now. And you're
not
like,
great.
Oh, you can't ignore it, but also it's essentially the new equivalent to like when they would show computer screens in the 90s when they were like, hang on one second, I'm hacking the mainframe, and there's like
hackers,
circles and stars on the screen, and you're like, what the fuck? Like they're literally traveling through space in
we were watching like, I love Michael Mann movies, but he made that one movie Black Hat, and he had too many scenes where you're going into the computer and like following the electrical impulses, and it's like, no, I get how computers work. It doesn't matter what microchip it lands on for me, though. Like, we can get to the story.
Oh shit. So I had a question kind of tying this into creepy. So one is the first one, a little less into creepy. You mentioned that you weren't you came in kind of late to like horror movies and all of that. Was coming into it because of creepy and like basically being lumped into that genre? Was that a big part of it? Because you seem to have like a huge knowledge base of the horror movies, so it seems like you made up for lost time pretty quick.
Blockbuster helped me a lot with that. Okay. So I didn't really get into horror movies probably until like maybe my senior year of high school or early in college. And it was just a lot of video rentals. I was playing a lot of catch up on stuff. And I met my wife at the time, my girlfriend, soon to be then wife. And she liked horror too. And like the first gift she ever gave me was an Evil Dead 2 DVD. And I'm like, oh, keep her, because I loved Evil Dead 2. And we got to like go see Saw in the theater together, and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre reboot with Jessica Biel, which I don't care. It's a good reboot. People give it
It's
a lot.
the best. It's the best remake.
I don't get why it gets so much trash. It is so Arlie Ermy is so unsettling. Like Andrew Bryanowski or whatever his name is, like playing Leatherface, just this hulking, like it was terrifying. The only problem is that the boyfriend, when he's driving the van, never once does he look at the road. I get it. He's staring at Jessica Biel. I can't stand in movies when they don't look at the road when they're driving and they're just looking to the side the entire time. Like, I get that it's Texas and it's a dirt road, but you're gonna hit something. But yeah, so we did a lot. I had to do a lot of catch up with a lot of horror movies. And then it kind of rolled into horror. Horror actually, the reason I got into horror in podcasting was catharsis, actually. That I got my English degree, I got a master's degree in writing, and wanted to be a writer. And it turns out I'm not good at it. But they still give you a degree whether you're good at it or not, which I don't think is fair. I think they should offer refunds at some point. But I was going through a time in my life that was just, it was kind of hard to wrap my head around. And for whatever reason, I wrote a horror story about this thing, and I posted it on the No Sleep subreddit. And the No Sleep subreddit, I don't know what it's like now. I haven't been on it for a long time, but it used to be you posted a story and the point was people have to act like it's real. They're not supposed to point out holes in it. They're supposed to talk to you like, let's help you through this, like the total suspension of disbelief. And I found this really weird catharsis in sharing my story. Like, and I'd never looked at horror that way before. That like horror, and I think a lot of people out there understand this. A lot of people deal with trauma through horror. Like, and the people who haven't done that don't get it, and it makes no sense. How can you watch people dying and being assaulted and chased and all these other and eaten and find catharsis in it? And it's like, because you're putting the villain on the screen and it's real and it's something to fight. When the villains in real life, we rarely get to fight. Like, they're emotions. They're things that have already happened to us. There are memories. There are past traumas. And horror and good gets to win a lot, right? The villains die a lot, or they at least get fought. Like, how often, how many times do you feel like you can't fight what's happening to you? You're just a bystander. And so I had never realized that horror could make me feel better. And in horror, you find a community of people that feel that way. There's always going to be people that are just like, they only want to watch vomit, gore, the most disgusting, messed up stuff. And if it's anything that has any sort of a message, they don't want it or whatever. And there's going to be people who will only watch Hereditary and they'll only watch Midsommar because, oh, this is art. The other stuff is trash. And which you find in any genre, you find in any hobby, you find in anything. But by and large, a lot of people, I think it's just like, yeah, I'm afraid, but I get to let it go. Yeah. I get to just, for that moment, I get to be scared of a thing that doesn't hurt me. And I can find salvation in it, and I can find comfort in it. And I can escape what's going on for me for 90 minutes or 2 hours. And I started writing again, and I started writing horror, and that kind of led me to creepypastas. And there weren't podcasts that were doing creepypastas. They were doing horror stories like on No Sleep, but not No End House, not Russian Sleep Experiment, not Smile Dog. And I was like, well, if that podcast doesn't exist, maybe I should make it. And now it's been almost 9 years, so can't complain.
Crazy. That's crazy. I mean, that's wild. Have you done any of your originals on Creepy? Did it start out as your originals, or was it all
No.
like Reddit stuff?
I don't think I wrote any of the stories probably until after the first 31 Days of Horror.
Okay.
And I've never outright said that I've written the stories on the show,
Interesting.
but I have done the stories. It's just like when I first started reading them, and to this day, like when I introduce a story, I never say that I narrated it or that I wrote it, but I will say the writers' names and I will say the other narrators' names, because my point was always, this isn't about me. It's just about telling the story.
Yeah.
And it kept up. And I don't want to put my name on the story because I don't want it to detract from the story. I just want people to enjoy it and not judge it one way or the other because I was involved with it. I just want people to be entertained at the end of the day. But I also want the writers to get their credit, because I remember what it was right to get a story read on no sleep. And like, it was just like, oh my God, like the validation you feel and how amazing it is. Like, you think my story's good enough to actually read, let alone maybe give me some money for. So the fact that I get to do that every single day, like with writers who were probably in the same position as me at some point, is like, it's just the cherry on top. Like, it's great to be able to do.
That's really cool. How do you sift through all the stories? Are you reading them all?
So, I actually have, I'm fortunate enough to be able to employ someone to do that.
Nice.
That I do have a story coordinator who sifts through the submissions, and we get a lot, and we definitely don't take all that we get. Not necessarily because the writing is bad, more that it just doesn't necessarily fit. Like I kind of made a decision, like there's fantastic horror podcasts out there that are full cast, No Sleep being the ultimate as far as I'm concerned. I can't do what they do with full cast and production. What I can do is single narrator stuff. I can tell a story like it happened to me, and I can do my best to convince you that it happened to me, even though you know it didn't happen to me. So I like sticking with the single narrator stuff. So a lot of times it's people that they write stories with too many characters, too many speaking roles. And like I tell people who are trying to get into narration, your job isn't to read the story, it's to tell the story. It's not your story, but you have to present it like it's your story. It didn't happen to you, but you have to make them think it happened to you. And if that story contains and then Barbara said, "Oh my God, George, I can't believe that we did this," and shrieked, like, it's just like people don't talk that way. We don't say he said, she said, and direct quote people that much. So more often than not, it's just that. It's like, if I can't give a semi-authentic voice to the story, it's just not going to be right for the show. And it's just going to kind of fall flat.
Yeah, so they're just submitting them directly to you. You don't even have to like
a lot of it. Yeah, we used to search for them, definitely, but then we got to the point, and being able to pay helps for sure. I know that unfortunately there's a lot of YouTube channels and stuff out there that'll just steal stories. They'll just pull them off Reddit and think that, oh, I can do it because they're out there, they're free. It's like, that's not how it works. Like, there are copyrights and there's Creative Commons licenses and things like that. And fortunately, we're able to pay so people can make some money and keep the rights to their stories on top of it. So that definitely helps getting submissions, but we also go through a lot of stories. So sometimes it's tough. Sometimes we've worked with publishers before who will have anthologies that will literally use their anthologies from their books and then pay them the same rights. So the writer gets paid again, which I also appreciate.
That's
like,
cool.
We're not just pulling a story out of an anthology and the writer gets nothing out of it. They still get residuals out of it too.
That's awesome. Yeah. So we will wrap this up, but so you have the 31 days coming up starting October 1st. Do you have a favorite episode that you would want people to check out if they haven't listened to you yet?
You know, it probably just kind of depends on what you like, right? Like, if you like almost the Stephen King like storytelling, like, we have this fantastic narrator who works with us sometimes, Joe Stofko, who does our intro and stuff. He's an older guy. You don't hear a lot of older voices in narration, unfortunately. But he does a series called Uncle Henry, and there's some really great Uncle Henry stories that are just these really very Stephen King-y type, like heartfelt, like it's this grandfather telling these stories about like his youth, but they're messed up, like they're like
cool.
strict boy, and they're with really scary takes on a lot of this stuff. We do some funny ones like Tales from the Gas Station. I've been fortunate enough to narrate their audiobooks too, which it's literally stories from the shitty gas station at the edge of town. It's comedy horror, and
I fucking love that though.
Jack Townsend, I love them. The first 3 volumes are actually available on Audible now. The 4th one should be out hopefully by Halloween. But we also have a lot of the stories available on the feed. But I also, I love the classics. I love Ted the Caver. I love Russian Sleep Experiment. I love the classic creepypastas that were written before people were trying to write. They were just telling a story. And that's the hard part now. People do a lot of prose. They try and make it flowery. But again, people don't talk that way. People talk incorrectly. We use poor grammar. We make mistakes. So some of the older stories can really hit home because they feel real. They feel like the storytelling version of Faces of Death, where you were handing a VHS copy because, my brother had this. Like it was like a secret. It was almost like naughty that you were passing around.
Yeah, super subversive.
Yeah. So like, and we've lost a little bit of it because it's gotten a little shiny. It's gotten a little more polished and more mainstream with movies and things like that. And Channel Zero, did amazing redoing Candle Cove and things like that.
Yeah, that was crazy. I remember that. I started watching it. I don't think I finished it.
I really liked Candle Cove. They did a lot out of what's essentially like a 1,600 word story. No End House wasn't what I hoped, but I really loved the No End House story. And again, they put creepypastas on TV. Like, okay, like it could be the worst adaptation in the world, and I could inside be really bitter and resentful. Like, why didn't you talk to me about it? I'd have made this better. And it's on TV. People get to see it. Now people are going to go look for it. They're going to look for more, even better.
Yeah. 100%. All right, Jon. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I want to have you on again because I actually have a ton of questions for you just about the show and stuff. So next time you want to promote, anything you need to promote, just let's hop on and we can rank the next. We'll do ranking of, what do we have, Lexi? What do you have? Lists of everything.
I don't know. How my brain is fried.
I will bring 17 examples.
Wes Craven.
You won't understand the list at all. It'll be
let's just do that. Just wait. You make a list, and we have to figure out what the list is. The best.
I did a top Christmas horror list that people are still mad at me about for my number.
You know what's so funny is that's what I was going to say, just because that's the season we're heading into, but I didn't. I bet you that would piss me off in such a big way.
And here's the thing: I don't like holiday horror.
My God.
That is the subgenre. It means nothing to me. It means absolutely nothing. As soon as Christmassy stuff comes around, I'm like, this isn't horror. But that's just me. Unless it's Gremlins.
Well, it was great talking to you.
It was. Until now. Way to ruin it, Jon.
Well, thanks for coming on. We'll definitely have you back. And again, check out the 31 days of, what are you calling it? 31 days of
31 days of horror.
Yep. Horror. Okay. 31 days of horror on Creepy, which is a podcast. So check that out. And Jon, thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, this is great. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.